The Galactic Council had ended thousands of wars across the stars. Old wars, new wars, wars between species that hated each other for centuries. They believed this one would be no different. Humans were new to the galaxy, loud, emotional, divided. Their ships were fast but fragile. Their colonies were scattered and poorly defended. On paper, they looked like a species that would bend under pressure. After months of small border clashes, the Council decided it was time for peace talks. A formal message was sent to Earth. No threats, no demands, just an invitation. The Council expected relief, gratitude, maybe even apology. Instead, there was silence. For 3 long days, the humans did not reply. The alien diplomats gathered in orbit above a neutral star system chosen for negotiations. The station was ancient, trusted, and heavily monitored. Council banners floated inside the chamber. Translation drones hovered quietly. Guards stood relaxed, their weapons powered down. The mood was calm, confident, almost bored. Several diplomats joked that humans would arrive late and unprepared. Others expected a small escort fleet, just enough to save face. No one expected anything else. Then the sensors began to fail. At first, it was small errors, static on long-range scanners, delays in data updates. Engineers blamed solar dust or aging equipment. Fixes were ordered, diagnostics were run. Nothing changed. Then a junior sensor officer froze at his station. He whispered that something was wrong. Long-range scanners had detected movement far beyond the system's edge, not near hyperspace lanes, not near known routes. Farther, too far. The numbers appeared slowly. 1 contact, then 5, then hundreds, then thousands. The chamber grew quiet. Veteran admirals leaned forward. Analysts ran calculations again and again. The data made no sense. The fleet formations were too clean, too organized, too precise to be natural drift or sensor ghosts. And yet, there were no signals, no broadcasts, no identification codes, no demands. The fleet was silent. Someone asked the question no one wanted to answer. Are they waiting? Before anyone could respond, space itself began to tear open. Hyperspace ruptures bloomed across the void like dark wounds, one after another, in perfect alignment. Ships emerged. Large ones, small ones, shapes never seen before. Hulls black as empty space. Lights cold and controlled. Every vessel held formation without a single adjustment. The human reply had arrived, not with words, not with diplomats, but with power. And for the first time in centuries, the Galactic Council felt something they had almost forgotten: fear.
The human armada did not stop coming. More hyperspace tears opened across the dark. Each one released more ships, rows of them, layers of them. The sky around the station slowly disappeared behind steel and shadow. Alien officers stopped counting after the first 10,000. The fleet moved with cold precision. Every ship held its place without drifting, no collisions, no hesitation. It was as if one single mind controlled them all. Massive carriers formed the core. They were larger than city blocks, covered in armor plates that swallowed light. Around them moved needle-shaped strike vessels, thin and sharp, built for speed and killing power. Between them floated silent drones, small and fast, weaving through space. Those drones did something strange. Every time one passed near a sensor array, the readings went dark. Not jammed, not destroyed, just gone, as if the sensors had never existed. Engineers panicked. Admirals whispered. Analysts ran simulations until their systems overheated. Nothing matched. Human technology was supposed to be decades behind. Their weapons should have been loud, crude, and unstable. Their engines should have burned bright and messy. This fleet was the opposite. Every ship was clean, silent, controlled. Alien analysts tried to classify the designs. They failed. The hull shapes did not match any known human shipyards. The power signatures were too stable. The shield patterns were layered and adaptive. These were not rushed warships built in fear. These were refined, tested, deadly. A senior analyst spoke carefully, choosing each word as if his life depended on it. "This fleet has been trained together," he said, "for a long time." The room went still. That meant simulations, drills, battle plans, endless preparation. That meant humanity had expected this moment. The council members exchanged uneasy looks. They had believed the border clashes were accidents, misunderstandings, emotional reactions from an immature species. Now those clashes looked different. They looked like learning exercises. The human fleet continued to grow, but it did not surround the station. It did not lock weapons. It did not threaten. It simply existed, and that was worse. Every movement was slow and deliberate. Every formation change was smooth. The fleet was showing control, not aggression. One admiral finally said what everyone was thinking. "This is not a response," he whispered. "This is a demonstration." The truth settled heavily over the chamber. Humans had not built this fleet for negotiation. They had built it in preparation. Preparation for a galaxy that would test them. Preparation for enemies that would underestimate them. And they had chosen this exact moment, this peaceful invitation, to reveal what they had been hiding. Outside the station, the last hyperspace tear closed. The human armada was complete, and the galaxy realized it was facing something it did not understand, something that had been ready all along. The human fleet remained silent. For several long minutes, nothing happened. No weapons powered up, no ships moved closer. The armada waited, steady and patient, like a sleeping giant. Then, finally, a signal reached the station. It was not forced, it was not aggressive. It was a request. Council technicians hesitated before accepting it. Their hands trembled as they opened the channel. Every screen in the chamber changed at once. A human appeared. He wore a simple dark uniform. No medals, no decorations. His face was calm, his eyes steady. He did not smile, but he did not frown either. He looked like someone who had already decided how this meeting would end. He waited until every species translation system confirmed readiness. Then he spoke, slowly, clearly, so that no one could misunderstand. "My name is Admiral Elias Warren," the human said. "I speak for Earth and its colonies." There was no anger in his voice, no pride, no fear, only certainty. He explained that humans had received the peace invitation, that they had considered it carefully, that they appreciated the Council's desire to avoid war. Humans, he said, did value peace. Several Council members relaxed at those words. Then he continued. "But peace the Admiral said, requires safety. The chamber grew quiet. And safety, he added, requires strength. The alien diplomats shifted in their seats. Some glanced at the fleet outside the windows. Others stared at the human's calm face on the screen. The Admiral gestured slightly, and images appeared behind him. Human colonies, burned stations, border worlds attacked during the early clashes, civilians fleeing, ships destroyed without warning. "We learned early," he said, "that good intentions are not protection." He explained that humans had tried communication, treaties, warnings. None of them had stopped the attacks. So humans did what they had always done when survival was at stake. They prepared, they trained, they built. The fleet outside was not a threat. It was not an invasion force. It was not here to demand surrender. "It is a statement," the Admiral said calmly. "A statement that humans would not be weak again. A statement that humanity would not beg for peace. If the galaxy wishes peace with humanity," he said, "it will be peace between equals." He paused. "Or there will be no peace at all." The transmission ended. No dramatic exit, no final warning. The screen went dark. The silence that followed was heavier than any weapon. No one spoke. No one moved. Even the background hum of the station seemed quieter. Outside, the human fleet remained exactly where it was, waiting.
The news spread fast. Within hours, every major government in known space had seen the human fleet. Secure channels lit up with emergency meetings. Old leaders woke from long sleep cycles. Ancient councils that had not gathered in centuries were called together. Panic followed. Some empires ordered their fleets to high alert. Others shut down trade routes and closed their borders. A few quietly erased old war plans that mentioned human worlds. The oldest empires felt something worse than panic. They felt recognition. They had seen this pattern before. Long ago, other young species had entered the galaxy, weak, divided, easy to push. Those species either broke under pressure or they survived and changed. The ones who survived never stayed weak. Humans had survived, and they had learned far too fast. The Galactic Council began reviewing old records from the border clashes. Footage that had once been dismissed as human mistakes was played again, frame by frame. Human ships retreating at the right moment. Human defenses failing just enough to invite pursuit. Human weapons adjusting after every encounter. Analysts noticed something disturbing. The humans rarely fought to win those early battles. They fought to learn. Every loss gathered data. Every retreat mapped enemy tactics. Every destroyed ship refined the next design. Those were not failures. They were tests. The truth spread through the chamber like a cold shadow. Humanity had not been defending itself blindly. Humanity had been measuring the galaxy. Council historians pulled older files, records of early human behavior. Patterns formed quickly. Whenever humans faced a stronger force, they studied it. Whenever they were pushed, they adapted. Whenever they were underestimated, they returned stronger. This time was no different. The difference was scale. The fleet outside the station proved that humans had moved beyond survival. They had reached readiness. Across the galaxy, military commanders quietly admitted the same thing. No empire could defeat that fleet without losing everything. And even if they won, there would be another human fleet waiting. The Council understood now why the human message had been calm, why there were no threats, no demands. Humans did not need to threaten.
They had already shown the result. One by one, governments changed their language. Containment became cooperation. Pressure became partnership. Old insults toward humanity vanished from public records. Ambassadors who had once mocked humans now asked for meetings. The galaxy adjusted because it had no choice. The final realization struck hard and deep. Humanity had passed the test. The galaxy had not. The Galactic Council accepted the terms. The decision was not loud. There were no speeches, no celebrations. It was quiet, heavy, final. Not because of threats, not because of fear alone, but because the humans had proven something rare in the galaxy. They did not seek conquest. They sought respect. The official agreement was simple. Human borders would be recognized. Human worlds would be protected under galactic law. Any attack on humanity would be treated as an attack on the Council itself. In return, humanity would share trade routes, technology, and defense knowledge. They would stand with the galaxy, but not beneath it. The human reply came quickly. Accepted. No extra demands, no revenge, no punishment. The Council watched as the human fleet began to move. Slowly, the massive armada shifted formation. Carriers adjusted position. Strike vessels aligned. Drones pulled back from sensor range. Still, no weapons powered up. Still, no shots fired. One by one, hyperspace gates opened across the void. The fleet entered them in perfect order. No rush, no hesitation, no fear of attack. As the last human ship vanished, the stars felt quieter. The station's windows showed empty space once again. No shadows, no steel walls, just the dark. Many council members released breaths they had not realized they were holding. Across the galaxy, the reaction was immediate. Military doctrines were rewritten. Training manuals were updated. First contact rules changed overnight. Diplomacy gained new meaning. Peace was no longer about words alone. It was about readiness. Human ambassadors arrived on distant worlds weeks later, not in warships, in simple diplomatic vessels, calm, polite, professional. They spoke of cooperation, trade, shared defense, but no one forgot what waited behind them. From that day on, peace talks across the galaxy changed forever. Every meeting began with a simple understanding. Humans did not rush to war. Humans did not fear war. And if humans arrived with warships, they had already tried peace. That lesson spread faster than any fleet. And the galaxy, for the first time in a very long while, chose wisely.